Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelichars. Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast. I'm your host, Michael Drelichars. Thanks for being here. To all of our loyal listeners, we thank you so much for coming back again and downloading another episode. If you're new to I Got a Guy podcast, we thank you for finding us. If you would like to check out any past episodes, go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. You'll see a list of all of our episodes and a short synopsis of each one of our episodes, so you'll see which guest is best to listen to. Hopefully you listen to all of them, but you can also pick and choose which ones fit your needs. I Got a Guy podcast was born out of reading a book called The Go-Giver. It was all about giving and growing a business through giving rather than getting and trying to always get referrals. It's best to give service, give referrals, support businesses, and this podcast is really born from that. So each week I do bring on a different guest where we talk about their business and help them grow their business. It's just my way of thanking my referral partners, my loyal customers and friends that have businesses that where I can help out. I would love to do that. This week is no different. Now, if you're familiar with the book, The Go-Giver, you know there's 5 laws of stratospheric success that they reference in the book. Frequently, I'll reference a law that applies to our guest for the week. This week, the law I want to reference is the law of authenticity, which is defined by the most valuable gift you have to give is yourself. The most valuable gift you have to give is yourself. And as you get to know our guest this week, you'll understand how that's so applicable and fits right in with her lifestyle. So allow me to welcome a dear friend, somebody I've known for many years now. Please welcome Jane Turner, Executive Director of Adoption Center of Illinois at Family Resource Center. Jane, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's good to see you, and I'm delighted to be a guest on your podcast.
Thank you. Now, Jane, I don't know if you remember, but we first connected back in 1999. Wow. It's a long time ago. It's just amazing when I think back. To how our lives have evolved over that time, and we're so blessed to have raised 2 amazing girls. They're now in their 20s. Through the help of ACI, Adoption Center of Illinois. So it's really, it warms my heart. And, I'm proud to be affiliated with Adoption Center of Illinois. And I've been on the board now for, 12 years, maybe 12 years. And I'm happy to be contributing wherever I can. So anyway, enough about me, Jane. Thank you for being here on the show. I hope you can tell our audience a little bit about Adoption Center of Illinois. And now November, of course, is National Adoption Month. So we're recording here in November. So I thought it would be really appropriate. Tell us a little bit about Adoption Center of Illinois, how it got started, your affiliation to ACI, and a little bit of history.
Sure. Okay. So at a previous job, I am a social worker by profession, and I had a job in the healthcare industry at working with senior citizens. And during the course, I met this gentleman named Richard. And he was a innovator and a go-getter, and he told me as an aside that he was going to start an adoption agency. And I said, all right then. So this was in 1988. And then my daughter was born in 1989. And after my daughter was born, Richard contacted me and said, I'm looking for some part-time workers to come to work for the agency I just created. And it had just opened up. Would you be interested in working part-time? And I said, that sounds interesting. Oh, sure. So my first job, I started in January of 1990 it was then called Family Resource Center. And I've been with the agency ever since. So that's pushing 34 years, which is a long time. And originally, the agency was focused on traditional adoption, which meant we were working with pregnant women thinking about making an adoption plan for their child, and working with potential and hopeful adoptive parents who were hoping to grow their family through adoption. So that was the basis of the agency for years. Was why let's we're just going to do this program. It was called our TAP program, Traditional Adoption Program, TAP. So that was our additional, our the way the agency started. And then the world shifted around, and there was this lawsuit called, this is like ancient history, called the Baby Richard case in Illinois. And this family had to return the child to the biological family because of a lawsuit. And families got very, very, very anxious about domestic adoption. They said, this cannot happen to me. I'm not going to raise my child and have the child
Mm-hmm.
go back to
Mm-hmm.
parents. It was a big deal at the time. So simultaneously to that, the world of international adoption started opening. And we had the opportunity to become involved in countries including Russia, Guatemala, Ukraine, and then the largest one and most important for the agency was our China program. So we started international adoption in 1993. And then in 1994, we started the adoption, our program for China. And our first families traveled in they came home on Mother's Day of 1995. So that was our
Wow,
first, how we started into the international arena.
that's great. Well, and the world of adoption continues to evolve, right?
Oh,
So,
yes, it does.
so it shifted again. International adoption is not as common now.
No, no.
And-
So I'll do a little synopsis. I'll keep going with the history. So for years, it was the traditional program with the infants and international. Those were two big programs, and that was it. And that was up until even 10 years ago. That was it. And then, as often businesses realize they need to do, we realized we needed to diversify.
Mhm.
So adoption is very much like a kaleidoscope. Every time you look at it, it's different than it looked like. So if you're thinking about adoption today, it's not the same thing as it was a year ago, and it'll be different a year from now. So with that kaleidoscope perspective, it is so critical that everyone realize if you're talking about adoption, you better find out what's going on now, as opposed to I heard or I think or whatever. So you've got to get the updated information. So we began to think about diversification. So we started focusing more on doing home studies for other families who weren't going to adopt infants from us, but were hoping to adopt from other places around the country. We started doing home studies, not for our China program, but for anyone who wants to adopt internationally. So we started working on that. And then international adoptions began to decline back about for the last 10 years. They've plummeted. It was maybe more than 10 years, actually. There was a high, it was like 16,000 kids a year were coming home from other countries at its peak. And now this year it's like 1,500. So it's just plummeted. So that's no longer, if people are thinking, how can I grow my family? Because that's often why people call us. Hey, I'm thinking about adoption. What can I do to grow my family through adoption? So we talk about different options. And then we thought about, well, the international numbers are going down, domestic numbers are going down. And then we created and developed a new program called our Waiting Child Services Program. So now we help people adopt from the foster care, either Illinois foster care, where our agency is located, or we help people adopt from other states as well. If a child is available in the foster care system, it doesn't matter if they're in Illinois, we can work with them to adopt from other states, like Texas is a big one, and Colorado, and Vermont, Delaware. So
The
we
families
are able.
have to
Sorry.
reside in Illinois in order to adopt. Use your home state. They have to reside. They reside in Illinois, and they adopt a child from outside Illinois.
Yes. So our agency is licensed only in Illinois. So we can help our Illinois families with home study services and adoption services. That's if they live in Illinois, we can do a home study and help them with one of those programs. We also help many people who live outside of Illinois with adoption through another program and I'm going to summarize this because it gets a little bit complicated, called our primary provider services. And we have hundreds of families that don't live in Illinois that we are helping bring their children home from overseas. And these are children they've already adopted, usually relatives or families that the child is part of their family already. And now we're helping shepherd them through the immigration and home study process.
Okay, great, great. So that's an amazing evolution from
Mm-hmm.
from its genesis to where it is today, and the fact that it'll continue to evolve is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a need for it, and my wife and I grew our family through adoption through the China program, and couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. And so it's a great option for families that want to look for that, you want to build a family in that manner. You also help a lot of uh, women out that are unexpectedly pregnant. And,
Yes, we do.
so let's talk about that for a moment.
Sure. We do potential expectant parents, either they're pregnant or else they're raising a child, will often approach us and say, I'm struggling. I don't have the resources. I don't have the family support system or the support of the child's biological father to raise this child. Or else, and typically these women are already parenting two or three other children, and they'll say, "Listen, I am doing everything I can to be an excellent mom to the children I'm raising. I have an unexpected pregnancy, and I was never anticipating this, but I'd like to consider making an adoption plan for my child,
And
that is to be born."
sure, sure. And what an awesome way to help a child have a tremendous life, and be adopted into a family that can provide for them in a way that maybe the birth mom can't. And not that, again, not that she wouldn't want to, but she just physically can't do it.
Right. And what we have very important is the message we give to the women, or men and women that come to us about placing a child, is that when they make an adoption plan, they won't be forgotten. We believe that through adoption, the biological family and the adoptive family and the child forever become part of an extended family network. So that philosophy, they never want to feel like this is it. I'll never know what happened to my child. And we believe in having ongoing communication and really having an extended family. Many of
Yeah.
our adoptive families, especially those that adopted children in Illinois, will get together. They'll get together several times a year. We have an annual picnic for the agency. And each year we have families there with the child's birth parents and the child. And it's very heartwarming to see that it is part of an extended family, and it's a relationship. The child isn't calling the biological mother mommy, they're calling her maybe by her first name or whatever, but they understand that this is a critical person in their life. It is their
Yep.
biological parents, and
Sure.
that relationship is honored and continued and never, and it's an important philosophy that we have.
Right. And that's been an interesting evolution because, decades ago, closed adoption was the way everything was. Everything was sealed, records were sealed, and it was very difficult to get that information. And I know Richard, when he started the agency, he was a big proponent on open adoptions. And now you take it one step farther, where you call this extended family. So it really is an interesting evolution, which is honestly, I would think it's healthiest for all parties involved.
Absolutely. Yes, and
So
we were the first agency to have a biological mother, birth mother, select the family. Before that, they literally gave the child to the agency. The agency made all the decisions, and that was that. But then we're like, well, wait a minute. You need to be involved in this decision. So families started putting together profiles, and this is who I
mhm,
am. And then she had options. Oh, look at that. This family, there's something about this family that resonates with me. And this seems like this is the life I envision for my child, and this is what I'd like to see happen. So it was a new concept at the time, and now every agency does it So we were very proud to be the first one to promote the concept of getting the birth parents involved in selecting the families.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it really is quite a testament to the character and the culture within Adoption Center of Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud to be affiliated with that. Now, so we have the birth parents, and you have the adoptive families, and then you also involve the extended families as well, right? Bring the grandparents involved, and I mean it really is very cohesive, a
Yeah.
big group of folks.
Yeah, absolutely. We have literally, we've had grandparents on the board of directors in the past, and we definitely have this concept of the extended family. And what's really interesting are the cases in which a birth mom has placed a child and come back a couple years later to place another child. And for sometimes it goes to the same family, and a family will be adopting biological siblings. Other times, for various reasons, the child will be adopted by a different family. And when that happens, we very importantly say, okay, we will support this with two different families, but the families are going to get to know each other and they will understand that concept. So the relationships between families that are raising biological siblings is that's one of my most wonderful stories is I see these families and I know probably a dozen of them now, and they're raising and they know each other, and the kids know each other, and they know that's their brother, they know that's their sister, and the kids grow up with this innate connection. And sometimes the sibling connection is one of their strongest relationships that they'll have for the rest of their life, because there's nothing to do with adoption. Hey, that's my sister, that's my brother. So it's
Right.
very I like the sibling relationships that develop from through adoption. It's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's heartwarming, and it's great to see that kind of unfold and flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. Well, Jane, we're going to take a break here in a minute, but let's provide some information to our listeners on how, if they're interested in any aspect of adoption, whether it be placing a child, or they know someone that might want to place a child for adoption, but there might be a family might like to adopt a child, or frankly, somebody might just want to donate to the agency. How might they best reach out to Adoption Center of Illinois?
All right. So our website is nice and simple. It's Adopt Illinois. Now, if you don't live in Illinois, people sometimes don't know how to spell Illinois. So it's ADOPTILLINOIS.org. So just go to adoptillinois.org.
Mm-hmm.
That's our website. And there's a donate button on there, and that would be wonderful. We wouldn't be here without the donations and the support of our community. So that would be wonderful. And there's a direct phone number and a text message, and it's all on our top of our website. That's probably the best way to reach the agency. If you want the phone number, it's 773-334-2300.
Great. 773-334-2300.
Yes.
Awesome. I will put that information in our show notes. It'll be on the screen here for our YouTube viewers. And when you do call Adoption Center of Illinois, I would encourage you, as our listeners, to mention that you heard about Adoption Center of Illinois through I Got a Guy podcast. It's a great way for us to connect the dots and know how valuable and how we're connecting our great partners with our listeners. So certainly mention that as well. So we'll take a short break. We'll hear from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be back and talk about some success stories, Jane. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. We certainly hope you're enjoying this week's episode, and we'll return to this week's guest in just a moment. But now a message from our sponsor, Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. If you own a fleet of vehicles, even if it's just 2 or 3 vehicles, GPS tracking is an important component for every vehicle. Here are the 5 top reasons companies invest in GPS tracking: driver safety, vehicle location, driver behavior, proof of service, and monitoring vehicle maintenance. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions can enhance your growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. Reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at www.precisefleettracking.com. That's precise, fleettracking.com or call 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. GPS tracking made simple. Now, let's get back to the show. Okay, we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm Michael Drelichars, host of I Got a Guy podcast, and I appreciate everyone listening and subscribing to our podcast, and hope you're enjoying our episode this week as we talk to Jane Turner, Executive Director of Adoption Center of Illinois at Family Resource Center. Jane, thanks for being with us again.
You are welcome.
So, Jane, the first half of the show, we talked a lot about, the history and how we help the adoption community in general. And I say we as being a board member, but you and your staff do such a tremendous job. And you've had some incredible successes over the years. Personally, I can attest to my family as being one of them. But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on some of the stories that you have. But to help our listeners understand how you've been able to impact not only families, but more importantly, the lives of these children.
Okay. I am so proud of being a part of this agency. It is a huge part of my life, and my pride is everywhere. So I love the agency. I'm very proud. For example, we have helped literally thousands and thousands of families become through the process of adoption. So those numbers, and every year we have more people contact us, and we continue to do good work. In 2020, in the last 12 months, we had 81 children who came home and were finalized a placement or had a placement or came home to their adoptive family in the course of 12 months. And that's 81 kids. I mean, that's just, it's breathtaking, if you ask me.
That's remarkable.
And then I think about some of the other, like you mentioned our China program, we ended up, the program is closed now, but China no longer was placing their healthy infant program, stopped. But we ended up having 421 kids come home from China, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah,
and I personally was privileged. I went to China 21 times with groups of families because families would travel in groups. And when I think about my entire career, I think about those trips to China and watching these families transition from, oh my gosh, I don't know which end is up. I'm nervous as can be. I'm going to get a child. I'm going to be in a strange country and I don't know what's going on, to evolving and becoming a family over the course of 2 weeks. You could see this, they just melded to become a family during the course of that. So I think about that as an enormous success. And I mentioned earlier our newest program, which is adoption from foster care. And that started in 2015 or 2016, I think. And the numbers are smaller, but they're one of the more rewarding programs because we have 43 children who have been placed in there with their families. And these kids did not have an easy start.
Mm-hmm.
They all have a history of being in the foster care system, usually because of abuse or neglect. They had a lot of challenges, and our families became well educated and were ready to parent kids with a challenging start and a challenging history. And it's a slow process. It's not for everybody. And the kids have challenges, and the kids have a lot of love to give, and the kids have great stories, and it's very complex, and it's fascinating, and it's such a privilege to see that work that we just started doing fairly recently and how it's become so important and how it literally is helping these children become understand what it's they finally understand what it's like to be in a family and to give love and to receive love, which is
That's awesome.
can't put you just it's just an
Priceless.
amazing.
It really is
Yes,
priceless.
it is right. Yes, it is.
Well,
It is
that's
right.
great. So
Uh-huh.
so to our listeners, if they have any, I mean, there's a lot of different people that could benefit from participating with Adoption Center of Illinois. So I mean, they may know somebody that is has an unwanted pregnancy or
Mhm.
is a little over their skis with their children.
Mhm.
Um, so they reach out to Adoption Center of Illinois, and how does that process start? You just have
Well,
a
first of all,
conversation.
and this is another way I'm very proud and put a feather in our cap, is that we actually answer the phone. We do not, no matter what time of day you call, day or night, 24 hours a day, a live person. We don't have an answering machine. There's no answering service. It's a staff member or one of our volunteers. So that's the first thing is like, oh my gosh, people will be surprised. I can't believe you answered the phone, which is a sad statement of the state of affairs. But we're proud to say, yes, we do answer the phone. And we always return emails and we always return text messages. So we're really excellent communicators. So the first thing they're going to realize is, um, oh, I can actually talk to somebody. The other thing I'm proud about is sometimes we can't help, we don't, we may not be able to provide whatever service it is they're looking for, but I guarantee we're not going to say, I'm sorry. We never say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. We will always go out of our way to provide a resource or direct them to another agency or to an attorney or someplace else they can go to help them move forward and resolve whatever situation they're looking at. So our availability is excellent. Our communication is stellar, if I do say so myself. And that is going to be the what they find when they contact the agency.
Okay. And if a family or somebody wanted to adopt a child, you have
Mm-hmm.
a very open program, very diverse. There are no restrictions, so
Absolutely
single
not.
individuals can adopt, same-sex couples can adopt, uh,
Yes.
interracial families can adopt. You have no restrictions, correct?
Correct. We are open. We actually have a seal on our website. We are part of this all children, all families. We are diversity is really critical to us, and we have absolutely no eligibility criteria in terms of race, gender, single, married, divorced, never been married. We have no criteria that will rule somebody out as
No
far
income
as what everyone
restrictions,
is.
no age
Absolutely.
restrictions.
Everyone is looked at on their own merit, that they are going to provide a wonderful, safe, and loving family to a child as opposed to details about their history or details about who they are. So, absolutely, we are very opening and welcome and accepting of any and all applicants. And
That's
you
that.
can see that if you look at our website and you go to look view waiting families, you'll see the diversity right there. We have singles, we have couples, we have same sex families, we have families with children, we have families without children. You'll see that right on our website.
Yeah, and that is tremendous, and that is in this environment, this day and age. I mean, that is so critical because that's not always the case. There
No,
are a lot of scenarios where some folks can be excluded, and I'm proud to
absolutely.
be affiliated with ACI and knowing that you are so open and there are no restrictions like that.
Mhm.
Well, that's tremendous. And so now, if somebody also wants to participate and help out in the agency, maybe they are an adoptee, maybe they're an adult adoptee, maybe they were adopted as a child. Maybe they know some adoptive families in their circle, but they want to give back to the agency. There's ways to do that too, right?
Absolutely. And I can help us count the ways. We first of all learn more about us. You're welcome to attend a free monthly program intro, so that you'll really get to know a lot more about us and our services. People volunteer. People, we have an annual holiday open house, and we even have Santa Claus come to the open house, and it's fun and it's we have crafts and cookies and fun. And some people volunteer and just come for the day to help out with the event. We have a family picnic. They may help with that. We have an annual gala. And this year, for Illinois families who are familiar, it's going to be at Ravinia on April 20th. And we're very excited about that. So some people say, well, I want to help with that. I have an item to donate. I want to help participate and get donations for the silent auction or for the live auction. And wow, I have a condo in Acapulco, and why don't I donate it for a week? Something like that. So it might be a practical thing. So people help that. Other people want to help in different ways. Maybe they want to be a speaker on our panel. We love adult adoptees. They can participate in our adult adoptee panel. We have families who have racial families. We have a special class for that. So helping with our education and our program panels is an excellent way to participate. Some people actually will then want to learn more about us and are interested in becoming a board member. We currently have 15 awesome board members, including one, Michael Jolichars. And you are welcome to learn about our board. And we're always interested in hearing if someone really wants to get involved and consider board membership.
That's great. That is tremendous. And that, there's so many different ways to help out and to help families grow and help these children end up and thrive in a loving family. So it is tremendous. And so I've been, like I said, I've been involved since 1999, and I couldn't be happier. It's one of the proudest parts of my life. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So, Jane, we're going to wrap the show up here in a minute or so. But is there anything else you wanted to share with our audience before we get wrapped up?
If there's a question about adoption, I guarantee we can help answer it. And we are, we talk about the history of the agency, and I'm also confident that we will continue to evolve. As I mentioned, this is a kaleidoscope, and things are going to be different a year from now and in 5 years from now. And so keep us in mind as a long-term resource to anybody with questions about adoption and in need of adoption services, or just interested in helping a fantastic not-for-profit agency. And I welcome your questions. And if they'd like to send contact us through our website, it's adoptillinois.org is our website.
Very good. Well, that's tremendous. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you for being a guest. Thank you for sharing the information and helping us celebrate National Adoption Month.
Absolutely.
And I am Michael Jolichars, and like I said before, I'm the host not only of I Got a Guy podcast, but my day job actually is owning Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. So a little plug about Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. If you happen to be a business owner and you own commercial vehicles, and you have a logo on the outside of a truck, we believe that you should have a tracking unit inside the vehicle to know where the vehicle is, and if it's stolen, you can recover it and understand and get the most out of that asset. These are very expensive vehicles, and maximizing your investment is really important. So if you happen to have these commercial vehicles, we would love to have a conversation and see if our solutions could be a fit. You can reach Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008, or via our website at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. So again, thank you for that. Thank you for listening this week to our loyal listeners. And if you do reach out to Adoption Center of Illinois, please mention that you heard about them, about this amazing organization here at I Got a Guy podcast. So, Jane, thanks again so much for being part of the show this week. And
you're very welcome.
Hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to all of you very soon. Take care. Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. For past podcasts and more information, go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. Please share this podcast on your social media feeds and tune in again next week to I Got a Guy podcast.